also have a new DIY video up as well. So we did a whole backyard makeover, and that was pretty cool. It took us all summer long. But let's go ahead and dive into today's case. If you are new here, it would truly help me out if you could like, comment, or subscribe. That helps others find my videos easier and lets me beat that YouTube algorithm. Alright, now normally I name my cases after the victims, but unfortunately today's case includes multiple victims, and I really do like to honor the victims by naming them instead. So unfortunately, this case we are just calling by the regular name, and this is the Ken and Barbie killer case. Paul Bernardo was born on August the 27th in the year 1964 in Scarborough, Ontario. Paul's parents were Kenneth and Marilyn Bernardo. Now, from the outside, Paul seemed like an extremely happy child, but at home there were some major issues. Paul's father regularly abused his older sister, and his mother eventually moved into the basement due to her agoraphobia. As Paul grew older himself, he began to show signs of being a pyromaniac, and he had some rather dark fantasies. Paul eventually got a girlfriend, and he began to grow depressed during this time. His girlfriend did not like Paul's depression, and so she left him for one of his good friends. After his girlfriend left him, Paul ended up lighting all of her belongings on fire as a retaliation because he was just so upset with her at the time. In the mid-1980s, Paul would pick up various women and he would regularly abuse them. He would threaten them with more harm if they disclosed the abuse to anyone. Eventually, in the year 1986, Paul was charged with 2 restraining orders. In the year of 1987, though, Paul began physically assaulting various women and even underage girls around Scarborough, Ontario. Paul would often stalk women after they got off the bus late at night, and he would follow them back to their homes, which is where he would attack. 4 separate attacks on women happened between the months of May through September in the year 1987. Now, Paul was never caught by the police for these crimes at the time. In October, still in the year 1987, Paul was 23 years old when he met a girl named Carla Homolka at a restaurant. Now, Carla was only 17 years old at the time, but she was in town for a pet store conference that was happening. Carla was originally from Chateauguay. I am sorry, I did not remember how to pronounce that down, so my apologies if I really messed that up. Now, Paul she was only 14 and 15 years old during his time spent with the Homolkas. At one point in time, Carla reportedly laced Tammy's meals with Valium in order to knock her out, and she would allow Paul to assault Tammy, and she would be in the room as it happened. Now, Paul was supposedly sad that he was not Carla's first partner, so Carla one day told Paul that she was going to offer her sister Tammy up to him, as Tammy had never had a partner before, as a Christmas present. You cannot get more messed up than this. So on December 23rd, still in the year 1990, Carla and Paul gave sleeping medication to Tammy and assaulted her. Now, Tammy began to vomit while unconscious with the sleeping pills, and she began to choke. This resulted in Carla calling 911 for assistance. Carla and Paul cleaned up any evidence and put Tammy back in bed with her clothes on. And when the paramedics arrived, they did not see anything terribly wrong with the scene and took Tammy to the hospital. Sadly, a few hours later, Tammy Homolka was pronounced dead. Even though Paul and Carla had been spotted on the night of Tammy's death cleaning up and doing laundry, the police believed their story that they had no idea what had happened to to Tammy. There was even a chemical burn on Tammy's face from Carla and Paul, but the coroner and authorities believed that no one else was involved in Tammy's death. After Tammy's death, Paul and Carla moved out of the Homolka household into a house of their own in order to give Carla's parents some space. Tammy's remains. One of these blocks did not end up sinking and was discovered later at Lake Gibson on June the 29th, still in the year 1991. This day, coincidentally, was the day that Paul and Carla got married to one another. After Paul and Carla got married, there was a bit of time where things were supposedly normal. Then on April 16th in the year 1992, they both were in the car when they spotted a 15-year-old girl named Kristen French walking home from school by herself. Carla pretended to be lost, pulled the car over, and got out asking Kristen for directions. Now Carla asked Kristen where she needed to go, and Paul ended up attacking Kristen from behind, forcing her into their car. They drove back home, and over the Easter weekend, Carla and Paul tortured and assaulted Kristen, filming most of their encounters again. The next day, Paul and Carla killed Kristen before heading to Carla's parents' house for Easter dinner. Paul then claims that after this, Carla beat Kristen to death out of jealousy, and Carla claims that Paul strangled her. Kristen's remains were then dropped into a ditch and were eventually found on April the 30th. Now, Paul and Tammy both had been questioned on various occasions for the Scarborough rapist case and also for Tammy's death. Paul and Carla had both been questioned. In the year 1992, the authorities began to test DNA samples provided to them by Paul. On December 27th, still in the year 1992, Paul, for some reason, grew angry with Carla and severely beat her with a flashlight. On January the 4th, in the year 1993, Carla returned to work, and her co-workers noticed her severe bruising and alerted Carla's parents. Carla's parents came and removed her from Paul's house. Paul was arrested and eventually released for the beating of his wife, Carla. Then finally, in February of the year 1993, the results for the DNA test came back in, and the authorities found that Paul's DNA matched that of the Scarborough rapist. They placed Paul under surveillance and began to interview Carla. Carla heard from the police their belief in Paul's involvement in the assaults in Scarborough. However, Carla only spoke to the authorities about his attack on her and did not alert them to the assaults in Scarborough or the murders that she was involved in. Later that night, though, after leaving the police station, Carla, who was then living with her aunt and uncle, told them about the murders that Paul had supposedly committed on his own. The police were alerted of this and immediately reopened the investigation on the death of Tammy Homolka. Eventually, Paul was arrested and tried for the murders and assaults. Paul claims that the deaths were accidental and that he never had any intention of killing his victims. Carla claims that Paul basically had her under his thumb and she did whatever he asked of her. She was afraid of him and was worried that he would beat her if she told anyone was charged and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole until a full 25-year sentence was served. Carla skirted a larger jail sentence and was offered a plea bargain for testifying against Paul, and she was sentenced to only 12 years in prison and was released on July the 4th in the year 2005. Now, Carla, I believe, changed her name and got remarried to her lawyer's brother and ended up having several children with him and seemingly lives a normal life in Canada. Now, I'm not sure how normal that life could be after being involved with something like this. Personally, I don't know that he, threatened her. I mean, I believe he did, but I don't know that she was just under his control. I do have the sense that she was almost involved just as much as he was. And maybe it started off more innocent in the sense that she thought